Morning, Chief.
Morning. How is everyone?
Good. Weren't we doing this just a few hours ago?
Yeah, long time no see.
Looks like Mark's sitting outside of work, waiting to go to work.
Uh, got another meeting to get to. Big city of Georgetown's Donna. She's taking care of all our IT stuff.
Good. Well, it's good to have an operator. Well, I can't imagine trying to do a council meeting and worrying about the technology at the same time. Some people do
Have the
it.
help.
I'm not that person. As far as we know, Willow was joining us this morning.
Yes.
Chief read a nice article this morning about a reporter being in Mayfield and observing trucks coming in, being unloaded. They've got some processes set up, apparently.
Yeah.
This was an on-the-ground report, and I was encouraged by how they're receiving materials and apparently dealing with it pretty well.
Yeah, like I said, we had one trailer get dropped off yesterday, and our gentleman that helped deliver that talked about the process and how organized it was. So they're learning on the fly, I think, but all hands on deck, and they seem to be doing as well as they can.
Yeah. Those very early reports indicated that the supplies were not that helpful because they couldn't get them distributed. But apparently they worked that out real quickly.
Yeah.
Good. Morning, Tim.
Morning, sir.
Give Willow, I just texted her. We'll give her a couple minutes.
All right. Mark, the council marched through a lot of work last night in a relatively short meeting. We covered a bunch of ground last night.
Yes.
Pretty packed agenda that we got through well, and just pleased that everything seemed to go pretty well.
I agree.
Morning, Willow.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, we're live, we're streaming, we're being recorded, all of those things. So I'll turn the meeting over to whoever's meeting this is. It's the committee's meeting.
Yeah. Mark's the chair, so. But I obviously normally have a little presentation put together. I don't have one this time. I just figured with as busy as it's been around here, end of year activities. I had quite a bit of vacation. I need to burn or lose it, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to lose some probably, but that's part of the task at hand. But we've just been super busy with everything going on. We've got our annual Christmas party. After taking a year off, we're doing that this evening. So trying to prepare and get all that squared away. We've got a recruit class of 5 that has started and doing well. They're full steam ahead. If you're on social media, you'll see we're trying to post with some frequency what they've got going on. We did partner up this time. Bluegrass Airport reached out to us, and their timing aligned for two hires on their end to join our recruit class. to obtain their 400-hour certification. So they're going to help us with some training personnel at different intervals through the class when needed. And they're a unique agency in that as soon as they're done with our fire training, I think they have a 2-day break, and then they report for law enforcement certification. So we have 2 individuals participating with us in that. But recruit classes off, going well, and really, really excited to see these folks develop, and very, very excited about what they're bringing to the table. I think what's on everybody's mind is the recent storms in Western Kentucky. How fortunate we were to not be impacted by those. Part of our business is even when we're not impacted, we help out. So we've sent folks to pretty much immediately once we received a phone call from Campbellsville. We've got a close connection with those guys in training and swift water and some technical aspects, rope technician stuff. So we've got a relationship where they, if we need them, they're a phone call away, and vice versa. So we had 4 of our members report to Campbellsville, pretty much immediately that morning, and assisted in some search efforts and recovery efforts on their end. We registered with FEMA, through emergency management, that the resources we had available, as well as the Kentucky Fire Commission, on other resources that they may need that we would help with as well. And as you're aware, the night before, Sunday night, we received a call from EMA, and they requested our assistance in Mayfield. So we had 9 members deploy out yesterday morning, arrived yesterday morning, and worked through the day, and are back on the job this morning. So again, I try to keep things a little discreet in what they got going on, but I did share a little social media stuff last night to show some of their vantage points of what they're dealing with and seeing. We continue to collect donated goods here at any fire station in Scott County. They'll ultimately work their way here to Station 3 to be loaded on a bigger semi-trailer, and should leave out tomorrow morning sometime to head to Dawson Springs or Mayfield area. We'll determine today where that load will actually end up. So it's been a nonstop. People just stopping by at all times and all hours of the night, dropping off stuff here at Station 3. So participation from our community has been great. We actually received phone calls from an organization in California wanting to truck some stuff to us so we could deliver. So we actually gave them the address to save them some time. They stop on their way at the shortest distance. And then another organization out of Pennsylvania is wanting to truck some stuff to us for us to deliver. So how our name got out that broad, I'm not sure, but we're doing what we can to help the folks in the areas impacted.
Good. Chief, I think we're all really pleased to hear about the helpful posture that we've been in, and want to remain in that helpful posture as much as we can. And we'll do that for the long haul. I think this region, if it ever recovers, it's going to need just remarkable resources and assistance and support from all over the state. But I think from my perspective, I expect us to do that. We're doing it, and we'll continue to do it well. It's kind of how Kentucky, we're all wired as humans to want to help. I think Willow really touched on the critical point of all of this last night, and that is, given weather patterns, storms are more severe, they're more frequent, they're out of season, they're going to continue to be that way. I read an outstanding article that said, you know, if the phrase global warming confuses some people and they have trouble confusing weather with the climate and things like that, to instead use the phrase global weirding, because what we're seeing is the weirdness of weather patterns all over the world, and they're changing in ways that we just have to assume that we will be Mayfield one day. And I think if we don't use this learning opportunity to assume that we'll be Mayfield one day, we will have squandered some of their suffering.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And, you know, if we don't learn from other people's mistakes or other people's, this is not necessarily a mistake, but, you know, if we don't learn from their experience and take advantage in preparing ourselves, then we're missing a huge opportunity. And I can assure you that those conversations have already started, and we'll continue on, and we'll, you know, not to say we don't have a plan, and you know, we've as an organization got things in place and certainly able to respond and perform in those. But again, the devastation we're seeing, there's things that we are learning and things that we never thought about, and other community partners that we need to bring into the fold to help us be successful if and when we are that Mayfield. So
you know, every one of us, the council members, you're wondering what it must feel like to wake up and be a commissioner or a council member in Mayfield, and how helpless and how much you want to help if you're even able to. I'm thinking, how would you even begin to lead a community at a time like this?
And as and Mayor, as a council person, if the phone calls came to my home and they said, tell me where I should go, what I should do, how, direct me, I would like to be able to have something that I could have a readied list of. This is where you go if you live in a place that is unsafe and you have 15-minute warning to get somewhere. Who's going to unlock those places? Who's going to be at the Nazarene Church, making sure it's unlocked at that moment? Maybe we have those things. If we do, it would be nice to be able to, you know, here are the contacts that we need to have. Here's how you get a hold of dispatch if the phones are down. Just so many things that you guys are probably aware of tangentially because of your work, but I'm clueless. Yeah. And, you know, if I couldn't get a hold of you or the mayor or whatever, I think it would be good to have something at the ready. And I'm sure Mark would feel the same.
Yeah, well, it's very similar to when I first came into office this time 7 years ago. We were immediately hit with Tim and Eric will remember this for sure. We were immediately hit with back-to-back blizzards in January, severe blizzards.
77, 78.
Well, no, these were just 7 years.
I don't remember that one.
not the giant one, but
yeah, that was the giant one I remember.
we were hit with two pretty severe snowstorms, and the first one we just worked ourselves into a frenzy and did the best we could, and overall I would give us about a C-. We worked ourselves into a frenzy, but we weren't that effective. 2 weeks later we had another blizzard.
Oh, gosh.
And what we learned when the first one, I said, okay, where's the snow plan? Let's get out the snow plan. There wasn't a snow plan. There wasn't a blizzard plan. There wasn't a written thing of any type. Today there is. We have a very thorough snow plan that has snow routes and advisories and the way it all goes out. Everything that you're describing now, we have in a snow plan, and it's comforting to me to know that we were without, We put it in place and it has worked since then. This gives us the incentive to do that same process for what you're describing. Not only do we need to make sure we're ready, but we need to make sure everybody knows we're ready and what their role is in it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Today we don't know those things.
Mhm.
If I couldn't get Tim or Eric on my cell phone, I would be about as lost as you are.
Mhm.
And there, like I say, there are plans out there for our emergency response, and EMA has that on record and stuff, but knowing what others just went through and the lack of public knowledge like you're describing, we've got a job to do, and we're going to do it. And like I say, everybody will have a clear message on where to go, when to go, and anything.
Right
we
now,
can do
let's
is-
help, but then let's honor those people by protecting our own.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Eric, if you need somebody to sit in and learn and listen from the city council, I would be glad to just be there as a presence to absorb the information and be a liaison of some type. I don't know who all might be included in the circle. I know Mike Hannigan, and I would assume people from the county fire department and
all your emergency response agencies need to be at the table. Our storm shelters selection needs to be reviewed and perhaps revamped. I mean, learning from, and just like I say, I think you all know Bowling Green's my hometown, so I've had some communications, and our selection of shelters, while it is a shelter, it is a place to go. If that shelter is in the direct line or impacted, I'm not so sure that they're the safest places to be. So coordination perhaps with the school system and other avenues to provide better shelters. So like I say, I'm gonna steer the ship the best I can. It's not necessarily my ship, but I'm gonna help steer it and make sure our citizens of Georgetown are protected and spread out. And obviously Scott County help the community make sure they're aware and protect them the best we can. And
Mark,
certainly would love to have you if there's a proper time. I'll certainly give you a call and see if you're available and let you join in on it.
thank you, Eric.
I think having one or more of your council members at your side would really be helpful for some of this stuff. Also, I wanted this should be an opportunity for us to revisit some relationships that have been more fruitful in the past, but they have not been as good of late. Example, we used to be able to offer citizens a safe place to go, Willow, in a couple of Georgetown College buildings, and they no longer do that for our community. So I think those things should and can be readdressed if we do this in a relationship and holistic way.
Mhm.
We're going to do it. So on
Eric,
different
my husband Horace is a trustee, so if you need a contact
Okay.
to reestablish the Georgetown College tie, he could steer you in the right direction.
All right, sounds great. I know Mark has another meeting. He needs to bounce here in just a few minutes. So I just kind of wanted to update you all on our fleet. I know that was a discussion at the last meeting. The engine that was involved in the accident has been shipped to Virginia. They are assessing it, working on it, and they indicated that damage wasn't as extensive as they thought. So hopefully that is an indication that it'll be back sooner than they thought. But it is gone, getting fixed. Our ladder truck, our frontline ladder truck is at a facility in Northern Kentucky being evaluated for the electrical issues with the ladder. They've narrowed it down, determined got the part off, and have sent it off to hopefully be rebuilt. So fairly extensive repairs on both of those. But one's one's insurance, one's not. So I'll keep y'all in the loop on any financial needs I have. But I just update you all on that. Our guys are working hard trying to get a bid specification put together, and I'm going to get it put out at the first of the year to try to, we're coming up on that 10-year cycle, and we're going to be in need of replacing some trucks, provide you all with options, and with the economy and everything in the shape that it's in. Used to a delivery time frame was 8 to 12 months, 8 to 10 for an engine, 10 to 12 for a ladder. They are now 16, 18, 24 months. So a little more long-term forecasting, financial preparation, just trying to get our ducks in a row to help you all, help us make a decision on improving our fleet in the near future.
Eric, on the fleet, for the council members' benefit, we've kind of had the luxury for 1 or 2 years of hearing the fire department say, "Hey, our equipment's in really good shape, front line, second line, backup." But we can only say that phrase for 1 or 2 years, because then you've got to start the cycle on other equipment. We're probably, with the growth of the fire department and an anticipated third or another station in the not distant future, we're probably looking at every year some discussion of an allocation for apparatus, either into a sinking fund to anticipate the purchase over 1 or 2 years. But I would suspect we'll start being in a budget mode where we have some allocation for apparatus coming every year in a planned effort to keep this fleet where it is. We didn't have to invest money for a couple of years, but
yeah,
we're back.
And pricing of these things have gone out the roof too. So, but yeah, we're hoping to have a bid spec out in January, open February, give us information to prepare budget, kind of moving forward. I understand the ARPA funds are there, maybe perhaps getting to utilize some of them if we're fortunate enough. But just like I say, I want you all to have that information when you're trying to make those decisions. Like I say, other than that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm good.
How many pieces of equipment are you talking about? Or are we looking at 1, 2, 3?
With the way our cycle took place last year, we bought a truck like every year for about 4 years in a row. So you can expect to kind of do that again with the lag time a little bit. You may, and an additional station, you may need 2 engines at one time, or there are leasing options available out there. We do that with our other fleet, the smaller fleet. Again, I'm going to provide that as an option. You all, we can discuss it and evaluate it and see if it's a reasonable option. But so you could package maybe something bigger if you did that. But again, if we keep the same pattern that we followed last time in our replacement cycle, we replaced an engine or a ladder pretty much for one piece 4 years in a row. Our smaller fleet, we had some Tahoes, suburban type vehicles for our battalion chief and command staff that were and assistant chiefs. I'm not sure when we're going to get those things. We've been working with Enterprise, and we had one available that they had worked through a dealer, and that dealer sold it out from under us. So we're back to square one and trying to obtain some of those vehicles as well. We had, I think, 4 SUVs in the budget, and like I say, it could be after July before we anticipate any arrival of those. It'll be in the next budget year for sure. So we're still working on those kind of things as well. So vehicles and the availability and the pricing are a bit a burden on us at the moment.
All right, let me rephrase my question then.
Yep,
We've got correct me if I'm wrong, we've got a ladder truck and an engine truck that are at the present time that are
out of service.
in for repairs.
Yep.
So I'm assuming we're using backup apparatus,
Yep.
an engine truck and a ladder truck until we get the other engine and ladder back.
Correct.
So when you talk about additional apparatus moving forward, I mean, we're looking at possibly an additional engine and a ladder, or
Yeah,
just
Yeah, ideally, with the way we run anymore and the wear and tear on these things, and what NFPA recommends is 10 years on the front line, and then you bump it back to reserve. So, those reserve pieces would eventually get surplused out. What is now front line trickles to reserve. Again, you purchased apparatus in 13, 14, 15, and I think a 17 model, but it was a early purchase. So when you're forecasting out on a 10-year cycle, you're going to need 3 engines and a ladder. And if we add that station 4 somewhere in that conversation, realistically, you're going to need a 4th engine. So 4 engines and a ladder. And you just kind of bump some of your best into reserve. You can surplus a few out. You can work it in as a trade as part of as a trade on your purchase. But in the next 4 years and sooner, I would anticipate if it were my plan and what I'm going to propose, you'll have a full replacement of 4 engines and a ladder.
Okay.
I think Mark, to answer Mark's question real specifically, Mark, I think we get these 2 pieces of equipment back that are out for repair, and then we still need the other pieces of equipment. But we'll do them in a fairly orderly fashion. I just want everyone to begin to understand, and we'll help the rest of the council understand, that over the next handful of years, 3, 4, 5 years, the fire department's capital needs are going to be higher than we've ever seen them, both for apparatus and building a fire station. And it will be a significant, if you're a bridge player, it'll be a jump shift. Fire department's going to have to get a lot of attention and a lot of capital.
And just a quick guesstimate, reasonable expectation, you're looking 4 engines and a ladder, you're looking about 4.2, 4.5 million in replacing those components.
And that much for a fire station.
Thanks for
Personnel,
that good.
yeah, we haven't mentioned personnel. We still a little behind on that too. But like I say, we'll cross each bridge as we come to it, and keep pressing. I know I've supplied information. It just kind of seemed like I know where we're at. We need the money to proceed, and like I say, we've just gotten so busy and covered up that I haven't had time to dig into some of the more manual information that I want to provide, but it's in the works, and I plan to chip away at that a little bit more after the first of the year. But like I say, I think you all see the picture, understand, and not just you, but other council members, with the growth, with the population run volume. And like I say, you all had a full plate the last couple council meetings and just annexing properties, and those are ultimately residential or commercial, industrial, seeking ventures for somebody, and we've got to protect that. So like I say, again, I think everybody understands. We just got to have other pieces of the puzzle present to be able to play the game.
I do think that there's a lot of, when I get into discussions about this, there's a lot of understanding, and you have helped with your presentations move the information forward. But there's always, we have the county. And so there's always a little bit of a pushback that, well, we've got the fallback of the county, so do we really need? And I see that we really do need.
Yeah.
So that if there's pushback in that direction.
And while they're a great partner, we do work with them on a daily basis. We assist them. They assist us. That's been in place for my whole career and will continue, but we have to stand on our own 2 feet. We have to protect our own people and be able to, answer the calls that the city require of us and not put that burden on another jurisdiction. They're understaffed. There's times that they have all their resources tied up, and our trucks can and have responded to Sadieville, Stamping Ground, anywhere they need us. We're going to go when they're busy. And they do the same thing within the city. So, to say that that's a solution, I would disagree. I feel like they need personnel. They're working in that manner on their end. We need them. We're hoping to get there eventually on our end. So to lean on them and say that's a solution, I disagree. Like I say, I think we have to have the resources and the manpower and the staffing to meet the needs of our community and not rely on another governmental agency to take care of us.
Don't disagree, Eric, but Willow's spot on with that perception. It does exist, and it's something we have to work through.
Yeah, I know. I know it's a crutch for some, and
we'll see how much the public or the business community pushes us toward this next thing I'm going to say, but we may we may get urged to have a review of a potential merger of the city and county fire departments. There are those who think that the long term there could be real efficiencies there, and long term there could be. Short term, I don't think there are.
I would agree with that. Yeah, long term, big picture. It's and I've always said, I mean, I'm not opposed to anything that's going to take the fire service in this county in the right direction. But
want the council
again, long term, I think it is. Sorry,
I want the council to know that process-wise, as we go through these kind of discussions, this is going to be in the background, and it may be something that we have to work with county government to bring in an outside consultant to actually study. I think county government will be more opposed to even looking at this concept or studying the concept than we will be. We're pretty open about looking at things, and if there's a better way to do it. County government is very vested in their current ambulance and fire department structure. And I think any logical look at fire service countywide would probably recommend a fire-based ambulance service. So it would be, if looked at with a complete blank piece of paper, it would be hugely controversial from the county's perspective. Tim, do you all agree with that? Eric?
Yeah, I think so. They have obviously 2 components at play. We would have one. We've been around, I think, when the EMS conversation took place of the city trying to start their own ambulance service, and how controversial and kind of political that became real quick. But again, I would agree with the mayor, and they have more vested interest in those 2 agencies than you all do of one. So again, I would just iterate that, I do think merger is a solution long term if done properly. If it's just a knee-jerk reaction and think it's going to fix something, I think they're misunderstanding their situation as well as ours. So but we'll again, I've been an advocate for the conversation and to do it right my whole career, and that hasn't changed. But some people think it can just be merged up and it fixes the city's fire department problem and the county's fire department problem, and that's just not right. Tim?
Yeah, I got a question and a comment, or comment and question. I guess the comment is I think that it could be, like Chief was saying, I think it could be something that could be good down the road. I do think that the county has a way that they need, a good ways that they need to go before they catch up to us. Just my personal opinion. I think they're heading in the right direction as far as being able to, I think they got better leadership now to where they're going to get trained the right way, those types of things. I think he's working on personnel, but you know, just the mindset of them riding two on an apparatus or some of the things that they do. I think it's apples and oranges comparing us to them. So for that conversation to happen, I think they need to be more on, I guess, even level playing field of where we are. But I think they're working in that direction. I guess the question I have, and this is just Tim Thompson asking, that kind of thing happening, is there a time frame? Like you all have conversations and city government and county government talks about it. Like how long would something like that take? And then how do you decide, like, does it go under the city or under the county?
Tim, those are all the I don't think we know any of those answers right now. I know when they studied it before, in Willow, they did study it before with a local commission that Mike Hawkinsmith chaired. And Mike will tell you that effort was absolutely futile because George was so opposed to the concept to begin with that the committee got absolutely nowhere with gathering evidence or making real recommendations and finally gave up. Mike's advice would be to hire a national consultant that really knows this stuff and listen to that advice. Tim is correct. There would be all manner of questions about who does it report to. County's not going to be comfortable with it reporting to us. We're not going to be given what we perceive as the differences in the departments. We're not going to become part of that. Some say there could be a joint city county board and fire service be under a fire commission appointed by the court and the council. But that removes one of the most important functions the council and the court provides. It takes it one step away from them.
Mayor, I have a question to your point. Would this have to merge even a portion of our city county government? Would it take a vote of the citizenry?
No, we can join together through interlocal agreements. We can join with other governmental units to perform any function that we can legally do on our own.
Okay.
We can just, that's why we have so many collaborative agreements with Scott County. If it's a governmental purpose and we can do it on our own, then we can have an interlocal agreement, and we could do that without a referendum. Merger would actually change our form of government. So this would not require a referendum. It would be a huge, big issue, and it might become a referendum on people's reelection possibilities. But I don't think it'd be a direct referendum question on the ballot.
Okay.
And this may or may not happen. I just want to prepare you all that I know Toyota and others are really advancing this idea, and we'll see how much traction it gets. I'm okay to wait on it. The county doesn't want to do it, but we'll see.
And I understand the need for the conversation. And again, I've had it many times in my career with coworkers and members on the other side of the aisle of the fire department. You know, Scott County got buddies. We chatted about this for 20 years. So I understand the need for the conversation. And again, I'm not opposed in any way, shape, or form, as long as it's done in the right manner and with the best interests of our citizens in mind. My concern is that they use this as a crutch and it delays us in getting what we need in a more rapid manner. You know, well, we can't get you your 5 people because we got to have this study. Well, when's the study going to take place? Maybe next year, 2 years from now. I mean, just if we're going to move on it, let's move and get the ball rolling, because time is of the essence. I've kind of indicated before, we're strapped. We're that one trick pony, and we need additional staffing, manpower sooner rather than later, because I mean we're going to bust it. We're going to get a task that's too tall for us at some point. So just that would be my request. My concern is that conversation creates even more of a delay for what we know we already need.
That won't happen, Eric.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That will not happen. I think you've demonstrated your need too clearly. And if that conversation happens, it needs to happen on a parallel track. And I'll do my best not to let it interrupt what this committee's working on.
Mayor, if I could, Chief and Tim, the mayor beat me to it. I feel the same way with what the mayor just said. You know, as far as I know, Mayor, those discussions have not started. And
No.
if they do, we'll have to listen and learn and ask questions. But until that happens, we've got to continue to do what we're doing. And that's providing you the resources that you and your department need. And again, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for Mrs. Hambrick or any other council member. That's the way I feel. We got to continue to give your department the resources that you need. And that's where I'm at.
I fully agree.
Thank you all. It's good to hear. So appreciate that positive feedback. And like I say, I know it's time for Mark to get on to another meeting, and I just appreciate all that you've done over this past year, the hard work you put in to create the revenue to support your employees and in the financial way. And it, very much appreciated. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and phone's always on. If you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me.
You're very much appreciated. Merry Christmas to you all.
Yeah, thank since I've observed these committee meetings for a long time, Will, it's interesting. The committees had even fallen out of use prior to my rearrival in City Hall. So we rejuvenated the committees and used them some, but this last year has shown a much more intentional use of the fire committee's time and the type of information. I think the new leadership structure that we've approved and funded for the fire department, and what we've done with code enforcement, and this has been a good year, and it puts us on pace. This has been the preparatory work that needed to be done to do the things that we talked about the next 3 or 4 or 5 years are going to take. We had to plow this year's ground to prepare for everything that's coming. So amen. Merry Christmas to everybody. Mark, thanks for joining us before your meeting.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Chief.
Y'all take
Thank
care.
you all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Is Donna still on there?